Hello, and welcome into another edition of Lectures Revisited, where I, a stutterer, practice my speech by saying my favorite speeches of all time. And today's speech is a little bit different because it's not by a famous speaker, but by a famous architect, Renzo Piano. And it is his TED Talk, one of my personal favorite TED Talks. Let's begin. Architecture is amazing, for sure. It's amazing because it is art. But it is a very funny kind of art. It's an art of the frontier between art and science. It's fitted by real life every day. It's driven by force of necessity. Quite amazing, quite amazing. And the life of the architect is also amazing. You know, as an architect, at 10 o'clock in the morning, you need to be a poet, for sure. But at 11, you must become a humanist. Otherwise, you lose your direction. And at noon, you absolutely need to be a builder. You need to be able to make a building because architecture is the art of making buildings. Architecture is the art of making shelter for human beings, period. And this is not easy at all. It's amazing. Look at this. Here we are in London at the top of the Shard of Glass. This is a building that we have completed a few years ago. Those people are well-trained workers. And they're setting the top piece of the tower. Well, they look like rock climbers. They are. I mean, they're defying the force of gravity like a building does. Literally. We got 30 of those people actually on that site. We got more than 1,400 people coming from 60 different nationalities. This is a miracle. It's a miracle. To put together 1,400 people coming from so different places is a miracle. Sight are miracles. This is another one. Let's talk about construction, an adventure. It's an adventure in real life, not adventure in spirits. This guy here is a deep water diver. From rock climber to deep water divers, this is in Berlin. After the fall of the wall in 1809, we built this building connecting East Berlin and West Berlin in Potsdamer Platz. We got on that project almost 5,000 people. Almost 5,000 people. And this is another site in Japan, building the Kansai airport. Again, all the rock climbers, Japanese ones. Making a building together is the best way to create a sense of cooperation and a sense of pride. Pride is essential, but construction, of course, is one of the reasons why architecture is amazing. But there's another one that is maybe even more amazing because architecture is the art of making shelter for communities, not just for individuals, communities, and and society at large. And society is never the same. The world keeps changing, and changes are difficult to swallow by people. And architecture is a mirror of those changes. Architecture is the built expression of those changes. This is why it is so difficult, because those changes create adventure. It creates adventure, and architecture is adventure. This is the Center Pompidou in Paris a long time ago. It was back in time, 77. This was a spaceship landing in the middle of Paris. Together with my friend in adventure, Mr. Rogers, we at that time were young bad boys. Young bad boys. It was really only a few years after May 68. So it was rebellion, pure rebellion. The idea was to make the proof that cultural buildings should not be intimidating, but they should create a sense of curiosity. This is a way of creating a place. Curiosity is the beginning of culture. And there's a piazza there, and you can see that piazza. And piazza is the beginning of the human life. A piazza is the place where people meet, and they mix experience, and they mix ages. And in some way, you create the essence of the city. And since then, we made in our office so many other places for people. Here in Rome is a concert hall, another place for people. This building inside is actually designed by the sound waves. You can see it. It's flirting with sound. And this is the Kansai Airport in Japan. To make a building, sometimes you need to make an island, and we made an island. The building is more than 1 mile long, and it looks like an immense glider landing on the ground. And this is in San Francisco, another place for people. This building is the California Academy of Science, and we planted on that roof thousands and thousands of plants that they use the humidity of the air instead of pumping in water from the water table. And the roof is a living roof, actually. And this building was made platinum LEED. LEED is the system to measure the sustainability of a building. So this was also a place for people that will stay a long time. And this is actually New York. This is the new Whitney in the meat market district in New York. Another flying vessel, another place for people. Here in Athens, the Niarchos Foundation is a library, an opera house, a concert hall, and a park, and a big park. This building is also a platinum LEED building. This building actually captures the sun's energy by that roof. But making a building a place for people is good. Making libraries, making concert halls, making universities, making museums is good because you create a place that's open and accessible. You create buildings for a better world, for sure. But there is something else that makes architecture amazing, even more. And this is the fact that architecture doesn't just answer to need and necessity, but also to desires. Yes, desires, dreams, aspirations. This is what architecture does. Even the most modest hut on earth is not just a hut. It's not just a roof. It's telling a story. It's telling the story of the people living in that hut, individuals. Architecture is the art of telling stories, like this one in London, the Shard of Glass. But this building is the tallest building in Western Europe. It goes up more than 300 meters in the air to breathe fresh air. And the facets of this building are inclined, and they reflect the skyline that is never the same. After rain, everything becomes bluish, and in this sunny evening, everything is red. It's something that is difficult to explain. It's what we call the soul of the building. On this picture, you have the mini collection used from a long time ago, and here is the Harvard Art Museum where they both flirt with light. Light is the most essential material in architecture, and this is in Amsterdam. This building is flirting with water, and this is my office on the sea. Well, this is flirting with work. Actually, we enjoy working there. And that cable car is the cable car that goes up to there. That's the New York Times in New York. It's playing with transparency again with a sense of light and transparency. Here is in Japan, in Tokyo. And then here is the monastery in the forest. This monastery is playing with the silence in the forest. And the Science Museum, this is about habitation. And, and this is in the belly of the whale. This is in Paris, the Butted Foundation. All these buildings have something in common. It's that something is searching for desire, for dreams. And that's me. One is me on my sailing boat and floating with the breeze. There's not a very good reason to show you this picture. I'm trying. One is clear. I love sailing for sure. I actually also love designing a sailboat. But I love sailing because sailing is associated with slowness and and silence, the sense of suspension. This is another thing that this picture says. It says that I'm Italian. Well, and if there's anything I can do about that, I'm Italian, and I love building. I love building. I love beauty. And the last thing, I want to take you sailing here to this place in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's the Jean Beaupre Center. It's for the Kanaki group. It is in New Caledonia. This place is for art and nature. And those buildings actually flirt with the wind, with the tide winds. They have a voice, those buildings. I'm sharing this because it's about beauty. It's about pure beauty. And let's talk about beauty for a moment. Beauty is like the bird of paradise. The right moment you try to catch it, it flies away. Your arm is too short. But beauty is not a frivolous idea. It is the opposite. In my native language, Italian, beautiful is bello. In Spanish, beauty is bellezza. In Greek, beautiful is karos. When you add agathos, that means beautiful and good. And not one of those languages, beautiful just means beautiful, it also means good. Real beauty is when the invisible joins the visible, coming on the surface. This doesn't apply only to art or nature. This applies to science, human curiosity, society. That's the reason why you may say, is it beautiful person? Is it a beautiful mind? This is the beauty that can change people and better people by switching the light in their eyes and making buildings for this reason. Makes a city better places to live, and better cities make better citizens. Well, this building, this universal beauty is one of the few things that can change the world. Believe me, this beauty will save the world, one person at a time, but it will do it. Thank you. Ah, well, I'm still recording the outro, so I think it went pretty well. He has a slower speaking pattern, so I have to basically slow myself down and have it still sound appropriate. I almost played it at 1.25 speed, but that would have just been too hard on any time I tripped up. I really loved his view on the world and how, yes, we are making buildings, but it's the art of making shelter for people. And then communities, and then overall society. And his argument at the end of beauty save the world, one that just sparks so many other thoughts that I'd be here till I died to say them all. But I think it went pretty well. I was in flow and then out of flow and then back in it, trying to not think of myself too seriously, but hear the words through. And his accent was a little tough. I missed a few words here and there personally because my ear isn't that attuned. He's Italian.